Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Karen McNeil. I'm the project principal investigator. And today we're going to, as Katie said, tell you a little more about what you might have already seen about the Auburn's NRT Climate Resilience Program. This first slide that you're seeing is the slide of our abstract, actually, of the funded proposal, and it tells you. I can tell you a little bit about what some of our priorities are. Obviously, we're interested in climate-related science and resilience, and that trainees are really important to our program. So graduate students who are a part of the project, but we also have some things that might be unique, such as understanding stakeholders and involving stakeholders. We have a training program that's associated, and we have some interdisciplinariness that includes looking at natural, built, and social systems in regard to climate resilience. And then we also have a communication aspect of our program. So all these things, there's a lot of embedded parts to our project and our program, and specifically why that's important to you is because we really think that this is a unique training opportunity as a graduate student that you can get as a benefit of being part of the project. So without further ado, I'll try to go into some of these details a little more if my screen will let me advance. So really, if you're looking for interdisciplinary research and applying interdisciplinary research to climate change resilience, as well as working with stakeholders who may need such information to make informed decisions about whatever it is they do. It could be an agriculture system. It could be a community manager who might be a decision maker for where to build certain things. Or it could be any number of projects that could use information that can help inform their decisions. Then this might be the project for you, specifically if you're interested in doing an internship with a particular group of stakeholders. Internships are not required for the master's students, but are for the PhD students, and I'll go over that in a minute. Obviously, if you're accepted into the program, it is a resume builder, whether you're funded or unfunded from our project. It is a line item for your resume, and to say that you were selected as an NSF, National Science Foundation, NRT trainee. Just to give you a little perspective, there's about 60 plus of these programs across the country, and we're the only one in Alabama. Also, you know, if you're just interested in increasing the southeastern United States ability to be more resilient to climate change, you know, the big thing to bite off. We probably won't solve that problem in this 5-year project, but we're hoping to work on it, right? And hopefully too, through the internship, you will be able to see what scientific careers are out there beyond academia. Because we have that internship and we have this link to stakeholders, you may find new areas that you are interested in that are, you know, not maybe what you thought. Also, if you have questions, you may put them in the chat, and Katie will make sure that they are read at the end because we have that Q&A time built in. And so specifically, this program will help you analyze impacts of climate change and variability of the associated hazards of climate change. It'll help you hopefully think about addressing these natural hazards in our region. It'll help you develop skills in communicating scientific information to a whole set of stakeholders and communities. It will help you think about the interdisciplinariness. I know in academia, especially as you get into graduate school, we're really siloed. You know, you start out really broad in your academic career, and you get narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower, and then all of a sudden you're like really in a silo. And what we're hoping to do is break down some of these barriers so that we can do a better job of trying to address this really complex problem. And then, and as I said before, this whole idea of recognizing other academic or other non-academic positions that might be available to you. And on this slide, you can see a quote from one of our current trainees. You know, we have a trainee cohort group of 7 this year. They just started in August. They had an immersion experience that was a 5-day experience at the very beginning before the semester started. We worked with another group out of the USGS, the Southeast Climate Adaptation Science Center. And if you're a trainee, you'll be asked to participate in this 5-day immersion experience. But some of that was about community engagement, and you can see how Kyle reflected on his experience with that. We have faculty from really three different colleges on campus. We have the College of Science and Mathematics, we have the College of Agriculture, we have a School of Forestry. We have 9 faculty that are core faculty to this project. That doesn't mean just because your faculty member is not a core faculty member that you can't apply, because we're actually looking to add affiliate faculty members, as we're launching this program. So don't let that be a barrier to your application. What we are looking for is research that fits the scope of our project. So, and for you to be thinking about that seriously when you put in your purpose statement for your application to this project. And it may mean that you need to have a conversation with one of the core faculty members and to be able to really get that understanding. Also, if you are a student of a non-core faculty member, we might ask, or we will ask one of the core faculty members to serve on your committee. And that's just to help you continue to satisfy the requirements of the NRT program and help have a faculty member representative to maybe even be the bridge between your other committee members and this program. So you can see some of the various facets of the interdisciplinariness that we are looking for across these various colleges that are listed, as well as departments and just various other things that we think are important to our project. And so you'll be working with not only just your advisor and probably an NRT committee member on your committee, but you'll get exposure to more faculty from various departments than you might have otherwise. And that goes along with coursework as well. And before we get into coursework, your advisory board, the advisory board we have on this project really serves to inform the project, but may also be a potential avenue for you to do an internship with. So this slide represents some of the advisory board members that we have currently that are representing our project from these various organizations. And they may know, they're helping us build our group of stakeholders who could be a group of folks that go beyond the advisory board to help us identify projects that are right with stakeholders for the type of interests our trainees might have. So I think it's just really important for you to realize it goes beyond the faculty at Auburn. It goes into faculty and stakeholder groups, nonprofit, for-profit industry organizations. And that's, I think, another really neat aspect of the program. So what is required of you if you were to apply and get selected for this program? As a PhD student, there are 9 hours of what we call core courses that are required. There are 6 hours as a master's student of core courses. And then there's also some electives. Honestly, if you're let's say you're in the Earth System Science PhD program already, those electives are likely going to be met just by the types of courses you need to take within that program. The 9 core courses include a course in, now I'm going to blank on it. It's the one my colleague teaches, Chris Burton. It's Natural Hazards and Resilience course that you would take first. The next course is a science communication course. And then the third and final course is sort of a pair of what we're calling a studio course that pairs with the internships. And together those are 3 credits. And that is only for, again, PhD students. Master students can take it, but we recognize that there's a much shorter timeline. So we didn't want to put that requirement on master students. And they pair together because the studio course is where you're going to identify the stakeholder you're going to work with. You're going to formulate the problem and project that you're going to work with. So when you do the internship, whenever that be, semester, summer, you know very clearly what you're going to do and spend your time doing so that we can have maximum efficiency and productivity for everybody involved. And the idea is that that project you do with that during that internship hopefully is a chapter of your dissertation. And then moving on to the last bullet here, the various programmatic activities that we have. We have an emergence experience that I already referred to, that you would participate for 5 days before the fall semester. We have, I don't know, maybe once every 2-week meetings that you might have to attend or would have to attend as a trainee. We have some specific workshops that you might have to attend. There's not that many, one at most a semester. And then there's, as part of that, every 2-week meeting, we may have seminars that we request you to go see some guest speakers. Instead of meeting as a group, you'll go see a guest speaker that we've brought on, or maybe another department has brought on, that is really relevant to our project. Part of those workshops include workshops that help you advocate for yourself as a graduate student, thinking about the mentor-mentee relationship, for instance. Thinking about how to improve your own learning and how assessing what kind of information you need to know or learn or get through developing, metacognition skills. Things like that hopefully will all help you, and then also a workshop on understanding what's called structured decision management, which is kind of a really neat way of saying basically how to work with stakeholder groups so that you get what you want and they get what they want, like a mutually beneficial relationship. So now you might have heard me say funded versus non-funded. What's that? Okay, so a couple of things. The funded category of student can only be a US citizen student or permanent resident. So if you are not one of those, you can still be a part of this project through the NRT non-funded avenue. That doesn't mean you're not going to get funded in graduate school. We hope that you will get funded by the department that you are getting your degree program from, because we are not a degree program. We are a program, but we do not provide degrees. So that, to be really clear, you may also be a non-funded trainee if you are a domestic citizen. So it doesn't mean everybody who is a domestic citizen automatically gets the funding, because we only have so many slots. So you may be qualified, and we just may say, hey, well, this year you may be an unfunded. You can still apply for a funded position in the future. So just going through that a little bit more, if you do apply for this program, I would also encourage you to apply for a TA-ship at the same time. Make it known wherever you are going through that you want to be a TA, but also let them know you're applying for this program. And we plan to make our decision at least before the Department of Geosciences makes their TA decisions. So that you'll know in advance, hopefully, and the department will know in advance that we are making this offer to you. Let's see. Also, there are research assistantships available in various departments through various advisors. Excuse me. So that's another avenue of funding that you can receive and still participate in this project. Let's see. I know there's some questions coming in. We will get that. We'll get those answered. Also important points is that you will qualify as if you are a funded trainee with the out-of-state tuition fellowship and in-state tuition that is paid by the project. You will also have some fees paid, probably all of them, unless they go drastically up. At this point, I think we've been able to cover everyone's fees. So there are some other perks to the program that you don't necessarily always get through other funding streams. So going to the application process, you have to be accepted to Auburn before we can put an offer out there, but you're not really able to be in this program unless you've been accepted to another program. So if that doesn't happen, we won't be able to, it'll be part of the offer language. You won't be able to be in our program because we can't accept students into degree programs. That makes sense. There are two separate applications. We do ask for additional information in addition to what you will have to apply is to the graduate school and provide if you're not already an Auburn student or not already an Auburn student in an accepted graduate program.
I just want to,
yeah,
Karen, I'll interject a little bit. There is a new process to apply for the graduate program here at Auburn, and there will be an info session very much like this on December 9th that goes over that in detail. It's over Zoom. Of course, you can get that information from your appropriate department beforehand if you'd like. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm glad you did. I didn't know about that. And then also, and then also be sure you've applied and satisfy whatever additional materials the department that you're applying to requires. So make sure you've looked at both the graduate school and your departmental webpage for what, and then go to our website, which we'll provide in a minute. We have a few additional things that we would like, and it's all basically through a form. You can upload files. We don't ask for official transcripts. We don't ask, you know, it's pretty evident. We do ask for names of letter of references. We will follow up with those references to get the letters, so you don't have to upload their letters. That would be awkward. And all of those sorts of things. So, but we do again recommend that you talk to somebody involved with this project, just to really, if you're seriously considering it and want to apply, because we do also ask for a statement of purpose, which gives us an idea of, or a statement of interest, gives us an idea of why you're interested in the project, but also what kind of research are you interested in doing that is relevant to this project? Because that's important to have. You know, we're wide open. We were purposely broad in the proposal because we don't know what your interests are. We don't know what people are going to want to do when they come into this project, but we do need to make sure that it's a fit for climate resilience. Let's see. And we do ask for unofficial transcripts, if I didn't mention that already. We don't want you spending a bunch of money to get a bunch of official transcripts, because you already have to do that for the graduate school. This is just easy to access information for us. Here are some graduate studies programs that are related to our project. So if you're thinking of applying through any of these departments, they're all related. There are obviously others. We didn't include civil engineering, but yes, if civil engineering, if you're doing appropriate research, yes. So, you know, this isn't meant to be a fully filled list. They're just convenience for you if you're not familiar with the Auburn landscape. And then our website is here. I think Katie's popped it in the link already. You can explore that website to look at the faculty who are involved. Right away on the homepage, you'll see a few square boxes. One of them is apply here. You just click there and you'll go right to the application form. So we've tried to make it easy, but I would definitely do your homework and explore our website. Talk to somebody. You're going to hear from the trainees in a little bit about some of the current trainees and what they do, to just give you a better picture. And this is our timeline. So right now we're spreading the word. We're getting people interested. Hopefully we're telling you about the program. We're going to accept applications through January 4th. So we're about to go on a big break. Get your application materials in, get them in. We're going to review applications in January. And then in February, we'll make announcements of funded and unfunded trainees. And then in August is when the new cohort of trainees will begin. Before, you know, if you do get an offer and you don't get accepted into a program, which I doubt, unless, you know, but, you know, certainly if something didn't get filled out or applied for or whatever, you know, we can't have, you won't be able to be, because you won't be an Auburn student. So,
one other thing I wanted to point out, we have created the application that you can stop and save. So you don't have to fill it all out at one time. So that's a little bit convenient as well. So you can start this application process.
Yeah, great, perfect. And then here's just a couple of questions that have come up in the past. Do all your projects have to relate to the goal of this NRT program? And this would be specifically for a PhD student where you're going to have multiple chapters of your dissertation. And no, we're not expecting everything you do to be a perfect match for NRT, but we would like to see at least the one project that you're doing with your internship be matching with this project. Ideally, yeah, you know, all of the projects you're doing for your dissertation would have some element that we could say, oh yeah, that relates, you know, obviously you're not going to have night and day things in your dissertation, but certainly that one should be really like, we can really claim it as, yes, that was an NRT influenced project or dissertation chapter. Master students, you usually have just one project. So that one project we would expect to be pretty relevant, even though you're not going to do an internship. We should be able to say, yeah, this is definitely of the NRT flavor. And the question is, can you be funded by a GRFP and the NRT at the same time? And the answer, unfortunately, is no. So that if you're not familiar with the GRFP, that's the Graduate Research Fellowship Program. It is also offered by NSF. And basically the federal guidelines are you can't have two federal fellowships at the same time. So if you have an existing fellowship right now, or you're applying for another one and the spring comes and you're like, wow, I got both of them. That's awesome. Well, good for you. You just have to sometimes it's great to have those hard decisions to make, you know, but you can be a non-funded trainee. And you can defer funding, at least with the GRFP. So you might, you know, those are all things that we could work through if that was an issue that you're facing. Go ahead, Katie.
Kevin asked in the chat, is there a cap at who can be an NSF trainee, unfunded or funded?
Yeah, we do have obviously for logistical reasons, we do have a set number that we were looking for. So we are looking for the entire 5 years, around 36 trainees. The most set in stone is the funded because we have a budget and we can't go over budget. We are going to fund 18 trainees over the course of the 5 years. We currently are funding 4, I believe. So we have 14 slots over the next 4 years to fill. Or 3 years, I'm sorry, because we're actually only going to have 4 cohorts. So we have 14 slots over the next 3 years to fill. So each year we're looking at, you know, 3 to 5 maybe funded trainees. We're flexible on that number and what that looks like each year. We are wanting a minimum of 18 unfunded trainees, although that number is more flexible. So we could have more in that category. And again, unfunded doesn't mean you're not getting any money. It just means you're not getting money from our program. So let's see. Yeah, I think. And then obviously you've got the link here. And just really quick, Katie, I kind of skipped right over it. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit more?
I did as well. I'd like to hear more from you all than myself, but I am the program coordinator. So I would be the person that you'd need to contact if you have any additional questions, you have any questions in the application process. If you don't know whom to talk to on Auburn's campus about advisement, you know, being an advisor during your graduate studies, I would be the one to contact to help you get in contact with the correct person. Then last time, this is our second information session, and the last time we had some applicants that were interested in to hear about the research that trainees are doing. We have a great opportunity. We actually have a couple of our faculty on the call today. So I'd love to hear from Dr. Pan or Dr. Tian to hear more about what they're currently doing. I know Dr. Tian has a couple trainees under him right now that are doing some research. Would you like to speak on behalf of that?
Yeah. Would you want, like me to go first?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Hey, yeah. My name is Susan Pan. I'm faculty member associated with Forestry Wildlife Science. My expertise is really focused on geospatial data. I use lots of GIS and remote sensing image. And I really like to have students to work with me, use lots of GIS and, we use lots of remote sensing and link to one of the model we already built up, ecosystem model. And then we can combine with, ecosystem model, machine learning, and geospatial data set, remote sensing, all of these, very interdisciplinary approach. And then we can, study how the climate related, the impact ecosystem, such ecosystem productivity and water resources. So I look forward to, to have students to work with me. I have currently have 6 PhD and 3 master, and will come to join our team. And if you have any question, I like to answer. Yeah. So, okay.
Thank you so much.
Hello, this is Etienne. I'm from Department of Crop, Soil, and Environmental Sciences. Basically, I work on climatology, hydrology, and modeling, and also study the climate impact on the agriculture and food systems, as well as water resources. So basically, in our group, we work a lot on the data science and artificial intelligence and process-based modeling simulations to solve any of the climate issues related to the society. So basically, so if you work under my group, we are basically very computational focused, and also so you'll learn the data science skills and also the computing skills and modeling skills. So maybe I can share with you something about our research. Anyway.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And then if anyone else has any additional questions, you can put it in the chat while he pulls that up and shows us.
Sure. So by the way, we got a student graduated recently, and he got a data scientist position in Houston. So definitely he's working in industry now. So if there are alternative career options besides academia, if you work in this field, I think if you want to know more information about our research, just feel free to contact me. Thank you.
And Dr. Tan has a wonderful website about his research group as well that I will pop into the chat as well.
Katie, just real quick, I might say a little bit real briefly about my research to kind of round out. The work I do is probably more on the social side of things, even though I'm in the Department of Geosciences. And you'll hear from a couple of my students who are here today. But I think it's just important to note that we are, my work is more understanding what people understand about climate change, how we can better communicate it, how we can better implement various strategies to help people understand it better. So we have a whole range of different things that we can do. Also, just the evaluation of how good of a job are we doing in communicating with stakeholders and working with them in a mutually beneficial way. There's all sorts of questions along those lines. And we have another social scientist out of the College of Ag who looks at similar problems from a more of an agricultural perspective.
I would like to add something very interesting. Under this program, actually, we conduct some very interesting research recently. One is connect COVID-19, because this is also linked to, environment, especially, like geospatial data. So we wonder in the March and April, we wonder if we can do something, linked to COVID-19. So we use the Google Earth Engine, the platform, the big data platform, and then we choose lots of different factors. We want to try to figure out what kind of factors, associated with the COVID-19, the transmission. And then we check many factors, and then we identify 4 major factors, and then try to use, the big data, and we also use the path analysis, modeling. And then finally we find out, we found that urban vegetation actually plays some of a role in COVID-19 spread. So this paper just published last month, I think, in September, and the Auburn news report a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, so this is under, this program. We try to, use the geospatial and, the climate related, because in the March, actually, we had hope maybe the temperature, go up, the virus we, get it, control. So that time we try to, study, okay, then the temperature or precipitation is really something related to this, COVID-19. So we did something and we found the temperature is not really play, the positive role or whatever. So that's kind of like thing, we can explore together, link to climate and the challenge we face today. And also recently we published one paper in Nature, also, make acknowledgement by this program, the NSF NRT program. And, we try to do, global wide, the N2O emission, and which is also make a big impact. More than 100 news report this Nature paper. And then, BBC is also interview us. So we can do through this program, actually, we can do lots of good things and very significant impact to the society. So I'm, I just, very excited to work this, team and everyone together. We can do many things by just one individual, scientist, because we are interdisciplinary. So we can, like work together as a big team. So, all right.
I put the last article in the chat, but Dr. Pink, it's lots of papers out there, so I'd be busy if I found them all. Dr. Tian, did you want to share anything additional about your research group with the group?
Yeah, so I think you already shared the website link there. We have all the information there. If you are interested, just go to the website. Everything is there.
Very good, very good. And we also have a couple of our current trainees that can help to answer any questions. So we know that you want to get a firsthand testimony from them. So do you have any questions? You can put it in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself. Ask anything of the faculty or the trainees. We have Brandon Ryan with us from geography. We have Haven Cashwell from geoscience, and we have Allie Brown from geoscience. And am I missing anyone? I think I've got them all. Okay. I've got some questions from last time that I can ask them. Is there one?
Sorry, Katie, was there another one in the chat? There is one in the chat.
Okay.
That was, what if you are already doing a research topic under advisor already, but want to apply to this program? Would you have 2 projects or try to integrate and have 1 project? Kevin, I assume you're a master's student.
Yeah, I'm a first-year master, so I was just wondering, like, what's like that process? And I'm in biology, so I don't think I'm not sure if that was in like the whole
Well, I think it depends. I mean, there's a couple of biology, I don't know who you're working with, but there's a couple of faculty that would actually really fit well with this program because they were hired as climate researchers as well, but looking at impacts on biological systems. So I think part of what you would have to, if your project is relevant, then you would have to just tell us a little bit about that project. It's okay that it's in another program. And that you've already started it. We're going to have dissertation students that likely will have already started as well. I think you just need to, convince us about how it fits this program. And you don't necessarily, as a master's student, I would discourage you to have 2 projects. We want you to finish on time. We don't want you to add time to your completion date. So that's where the fit is important. And in that case, it could be that, if you decide to get a PhD, if it doesn't fit at all, then you might wait until you become a PhD student if you decide to stay, and then really think about, okay, if climate resilience is really something that I want to get into, how can I stay in my program and who should I be working with to get that fit?
Yeah, just one comment.
Thank you.
So just one comment. So climate science and earth system science is actually like an interdisciplinary field. It's very inclusive. We have a trainee from who has an undergraduate in biology degree, who has a biology undergraduate degree, and who is currently working on drought. So I think as long as you have that kind of motivation to work on any climate issues, and you can definitely consider about that, consider this program.
Thank you.
There's another question. Sorry, Katie, I know you got other ones, but since it's here, oh wait, I think this one's just to me, but let's see if it applies to everybody here. I'll have to look. I don't know about Roger's diffusion of innovation, so I will look that up. If you have a reference, Mahe, please send it to me.
So Megan Niels asked, did you read this out before? What are common career paths for students who have completed this program in the past? For current participants, what are some of the most beneficial skills that you have acquired through your time in the program? Which is 2 great questions. So Karen, do you want to answer the first one? And then we'll have one of the trainees be thinking and feel free to unmute yourself and answer that.
Yeah, I can add the first one. Well, we only have one cohort who just started this year, so no one's finished. But I can tell you that we've been working very closely with another project called the Southeast Climate Adaptation Science Center. That's a USGS funded project, and they have been around for 10 years. And so we have been working with them, one, to, take advantage of the fact that we both have similar efforts, but we've also been learning from them. And we know where their graduates have gone on to an array of various sectors, from academia to private industry to federal jobs. I think a lot of people placed in federal positions. So I think I hope that we can emulate something similar where we're, not just pushing everybody to academia, but that they know what their options are at least. But we don't have any data on our project yet.
Okay, and so that second part of that question, who would like to answer that from Brandon Haven or Allie?
I can go ahead and answer that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess kind of for me, at least, the most beneficial skill is kind of pursuing knowledge for the sake of knowledge. There are a lot of meetings, there's a lot of papers that we have to go to throughout the semester, but they're all super interesting. And I've really found myself a lot of the times afterwards kind of pursuing things further. So whether that be whoever's speaking, I'll go to their profile, look up papers they've published, kind of read through them. Because before this, again, as Karen, Dr. McNeil mentioned, you kind of silo yourself, and even in undergrad, you kind of start pushing that way. And I think the biggest thing is learning that there's so many aspects to climate science, and it's not always just about temperature and sea level rise. Like for me, the biggest thing is learning that there's people to the numbers. There's going to be people affected by those numbers, and a lot of our talks have been kind of focused around that, which I really appreciate, kind of more social side, which is something as a kind of more hard numerical scientist myself isn't something that I really considered nor thought of. So for me, that's kind of been the biggest plus.
Thank you, Brandon. Ladies, anything to add?
I can add a little bit about just the workshops that we do throughout the semester. We just had a really, really awesome workshop about navigating your mentor-mentee relationship. And I found that to be an incredibly helpful skill. I'm a PhD student and it's my first year. So I know I have a long road ahead of me in school, and just learning how to navigate that relationship effectively will be a skill that I'll definitely carry with me throughout my entire graduate school experience.
Yeah, and that workshop that she mentioned is one we do with our faculty as well. So we're developing up as well. So it's been okay. I have another question, unless you want to add to that, Haven, as well.
Yeah, I can add something really quick, short and sweet, but during the NRT immersion experience this summer, we really got exposed to how to communicate our science effectively. And I think that's something that, especially me as more of on the social science side, a skill that I definitely needed to grow. And specifically with the project I'm working on, I feel as though I can advance the communication with my science and effectively communicate the effects of climate change on species to different species managers, and hope to advance that process. So definitely my communication skills have been advanced for sure by this project.
Yeah, Haven's doing a great job. Do you want to go into more detail about what your current research is?
Yeah, I definitely can. So I'm a second year master's student in geography. My advisor is Dr. Karen McNeil, and I'm currently eye tracking a decision support system in hopes to help species managers in the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service effectively put more climate information into their species status assessments, which are required under the Endangered Species Act. So right now I'm in that eye tracking process, and we're going to go through iterations of this website to see if we can create a website that's going to be useful for these species managers, and ultimately hoping that this website communicates the effects that climate change will have on these species. So it's a really exciting project. Since I applied to the NRT program in my first year, since I was already a grad student here, I already had this project, and I felt like it was going to be a perfect fit to continue with the NRT with. So it's been really exciting.
I think just to bring up, if you don't mind, Haven's currently a research, funded by her research. So she's a non-funded trainee. But she has decided to go on to her PhD. So she probably will apply to see if she can become a funded trainee, like that can happen. So I mean, just, whether she'll, get the funding or not, we'll see when we go into the selection process. But I think just keep in mind, if you don't get selected right off the bat, there are opportunities to continue to apply. We do have a limited number every year, but that doesn't mean, as far as the funded, but that doesn't mean you won't have an opportunity to get that funding secured.
Very good. And then I was encouraged to ask this question, and I am interested to find out what it is as well. But what is your favorite characteristic about this program to our current trainees that are here today?
I can talk about that one because it was my question. I think the most important characteristic about our program is that it's interdisciplinary. I know we've like harped on that this whole 45 minutes, but it's so important having colleagues in different fields that you can bounce ideas off of, and it's super important to expand your knowledge base and not just stay in one lane. And I think that's the most important part of our system right now.
I won't take offense that it was my socially distanced line dancing class that I gave to the trainees. Brandon or Haven, do you want to share your favorite aspect of the program?
Yeah, I would just echo what Ali said. The fact that this program is interdisciplinary, I've learned many different scopes of how to look at climate science. And that's been really helpful to me because it's opened my eyes to all these different fields. Being a meteorology major in undergraduate, I had like just this one scope of what I wanted to look at, which Brandon mentioned before, of like sea level rise and, rising temperatures. But, there's so much more to that. And I think with this program, I've really gotten exposed to it, which I appreciate.
Okay, and Brandon, I'm going to change it up for you because you've already told us how much you like that, okay? So let's be honest with these hopefully future applicants. What's the time commitment for this program?
Yeah, so definitely given the current circumstances with COVID, personally, I found myself having a lot more free time from undergrad to now. Obviously, you don't have to take as many courses, which is nice. But then again, not being able to go on campus or things like that kind of give you a lot of time on days off to do other things. So personally, I would say I haven't felt necessarily super crunched or super stressed out for the first semester, which has been really nice, especially coming from somewhere else and transitioning to living on my own and things like that. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's too bad. The meetings are always kind of spaced out. Most of the, or at least from my perspective, I haven't had any sort of overlap or things like that, so things kind of fall into place. So like I said, the meetings aren't super overwhelming, and then kind of paired with this, you do have some graduate school different like colloquiums and things, and sometimes they overlap, but that's also kind of another time commitment. But as a whole, it's pretty smooth sailing, to be honest.
Also, just to add on that, if you get funded through the NRT, you don't have to be a TA. So that's also like kind of factored into your time commitment. Like right now, I'm a funded trainee. So having the extra time to really think through what I'm going to research and read extra papers and like kind of pad myself with that knowledge base and not having to TA right now, I would say that's like definitely lessened my time commitment.
Great point. Great point. Do we have any additional questions for today? So delighted to have you all here. Thank you for our faculty and our current trainees for joining in. We encourage you all to don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions or you'd like us to help you pair up with a Auburn faculty member, or if you have any questions with the new graduate process. From my understanding, they're actually making it easier. I mean, it seems that's the word on the street.
I believe there's no GRE required, but there is a purpose statement now required.
Yeah. Oh yeah, our schools do not require GRE also. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Enjoy your Friday
Thank you all so
and
much.
enjoy your weekend.
Thank you so much.